Let us make this room a laboratory of spirit, not a hall for persuasion, not a rally for beliefs, but a quiet place in which we observe. Don't believe me. Test presence. See. Do you feel that this is true? Not whether your mind nods in polite agreement, but whether something deep within you finds itself becoming still at the thought of it. If you will, let us begin, not with words, but with a moment. Be still and know that I am God. Can you allow that to rest upon you, not as theology, not as argument, only as an invitation? Be still. Let us see if, beneath all your fine opinions, beneath your skepticism, beneath your hopes, there is a subtle rightness beginning to glow. And if there is resistance, beautiful, bring that too. In a laboratory, we do not despise any result. Our aim is modest and radical at once, from skeptic to proof by lived realization. No debates will be held here, not with me, not with your neighbor, and not even with yourself. We are turning from the noise of contention to the inner evidence of presence. For a few moments, do not reach out after conclusions. Do not assemble your case for or against God. Your heavenly Father needs no defense. The kingdom of God is within you. If that is so, you can find it without my arguments. If it is not so, no argument of mine can manufacture it. So we take the scientific attitude of the Spirit. We watch. We listen. We yield before we speak. Now, before we proceed to any instruction, consent to a single simple statement. God is. Do not try to believe it. Rest with it as you might rest your hand upon a quiet table and feel its steadiness enter your palm. God is, not will be when problems are solved, not was in some golden past, but is now omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience. Do you feel an answering stillness, a hesitation? Either will do. We are here to discover, not to posture. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. For this hour, withhold. No membership is required for this. No badge, no vocabulary test, no metaphysical pedigree. Your Father and my Father, one Father. All that I have is thine. What does that mean if not that access is native, immediate, inherent? It does not depend upon whether you were raised within any religion or have read any book. The door is within you. I can stand near it and point, but I cannot open it for you. You must find the handle in the silence. You must become willing to see if the center of you answers when the word God is spoken without request, without bargaining, without a plan. I remember a woman who came to a class with arms folded across her chest as if to say, "You will not get past this." A music teacher, accustomed to tuning others, she had given up hope of her own life finding a key. I said only, "We are not here to be persuaded. We are here to notice." We sat without comment for 2 minutes. At the end, she was no believer. No badge had been pinned on her, but she touched her throat and said, quietly surprised, "It's as if the room filled with a warmth," and my breath decided to trust it. That is all. A note sounded. Not mine, hers. The presence meeting itself. Can you accept this arrangement for our time together? You bring your honesty, your yes, your no, your uncertainty. I bring a practice of looking away from appearances into the invisible. Together we agree to observe what takes place when we withhold judgment and let the inner measure speak. The promise is not spectacle. The promise is order, assurance within, harmonies without. The Master said, I and the Father are one. Do not believe it because he said it, nor because I repeat it. Let us see whether in stillness, the fact of oneness discloses itself as a subtle rightness, a soft certainty, a peace that does not argue. So, for this class, take your stand here. Don't believe, observe. Sit with God is, 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 is. Before we think, we listen. Before we speak of God, we let God be. And then we note, with the scrupulous care of a scientist of the spirit, what dawns upon consciousness, what lifts, what warms, what loosens the iron bands around the heart. This is our foundation. Universal access, single focus, quiet consent. If you can grant me only this, our work has begun. Now, because we are observing and not arguing, let us look at the one word that has so often failed us because we have misunderstood it: prayer. Prayer is never going to God for something. No, no. Do you feel how the very habit of asking has made beggars of us before an infinite Father? Your heavenly Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. If that is so, and I say it not to win a point, but to invite you to listen within, then prayer cannot be information sent to an ignorant deity, nor persuasion applied to a reluctant one. Prayer is the inner contact, the felt assurance, the quiet knowing of God is. In that contact, the weight rolls off, the mind loosens its grip, and peace announces itself as presence. When the Master said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you," he did not mean seek things. He meant seek the realization. First the kingdom, first the inner recognition of I and the Father are one, then the harmonies appear as natural consequences, not as prizes granted to a successful petitioner. Do you see what I'm driving at? The difference is between trying to get and waking to what is. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Why? Because in the realized presence of the shepherd, the flock of supply, safety, guidance comes as expression of that presence, not as loot acquired by a strenuous prayer. Prayer, then, is not words. It is not posture. It is not a shopping list. Read reverently. Prayer is the act of consent to reality. It is our silence becoming transparent to the infinite. And in that transparency, a certainty dawns small at first. Perhaps, like a candle, the wind cannot quite extinguish. You know the feeling. Not a fireworks display, not a trance, but a settled rightness. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. When that peace registers, even faintly, you have prayed. Not a syllable may have been spoken, and yet the true speaking has taken place in you. God is. Now I ask you not whether your mind agrees, but whether something within finds itself breathing more freely as you hear this. As you hear that prayer is realizing, not requesting, is there a quiet yes in you? Be honest. If there is resistance, good. Let it sit there in the light. We will not argue with it. We will test. We will measure not by immediate spectacle, but by the inner shift, and then by the outward harmonies that gather around that shift as surely as morning follows night. First, assurance, then arrangement. First, presence, then provision. I once sat with a man who had prayed for a job for 8 months, his petitions multiplying with his anxieties. We set aside the list. We said together, gently, God is. We waited until the naming of God ceased to be a project and became a presence. He did not receive a mystical telegram. He received a release. The next week, the outward piece fell into place without strain. He laughed. I didn't get a job. I discovered that employment had been waiting for me where I had been too agitated to see. That is all. The addition followed the seeking not of a position, but of the kingdom. So, as we go on, let us reset the heart's compass. Do not go to God for anything. Go to God, no requests, unless you can call this a request. Be still and know that I am God. And in that stillness, let the knowing arise. We will prove this gently, practically. The test is simple. To what degree does an inward assurance establish itself? To what degree do fear and grasping loosen? In that degree, watch how life, without your manipulation, aligns. All that the Father hath is thine, not because you begged well, but because oneness realized is fullness expressed. Now we must be honest enough to state our premise. Every experiment requires one. Ours is simple, daring, and if true, altogether restful. I and the Father are one. That is a hypothesis we will test. If God is infinite omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience, then there is no outside to God, no circumference beyond which you or I could drift. If there is no outside to God, then our true being cannot be other than the life of God expressing itself. Do you see what I'm driving at? Not two lives, God's life over there and your life over here competing for air and supply. One life, one presence, one law, one, O-N-A, one. If this is true, then the nature of God must be the nature of our true identity. Not in degree, but in kind, spiritual, whole, complete, infinite in its source, and therefore unfearful in its expression. The Master did not say, I and the Father are two, and perhaps one day you will be invited to visit. No, no. He said, I and my Father are one. And again, after the resurrection, he speaks of my Father and your Father. Do you feel the swing of that door opening? Your Father and my Father. There is no hierarchy of access here. No private line for the few. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. If the kingdom is the Father's good pleasure to give, then prayer cannot be prying open a reluctant hand. It must be the awakening to what has never been withheld. All things that the Father hath are mine, the Master declared. And in the parable, the Father says to the elder son, baffled by grace, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Your Father and my Father, all that I have is thine. Can you grant, even as hypothesis, that this is about identity, not entitlement, about being, not bargaining? Here is the turn that refits the heart. You are not a separated seeker trying to climb into a guarded treasure house. You are an included heir discovering the key that has always been in your pocket realization. The difference between the beggar at the gate and the heir at the table is not the Father's preference, it is the Son's recognition. Do you feel this? Even faintly. Not whether you can lecture on it, but whether something within relaxes at the possibility that your life is not an orphan project after all. In Him we live and move and have our being. If we live and move and have our being in God, then our very breathing is taking place in the infinite. God is life is one. One law, one mind, one substance. then any sense of apartness we have been nursing is not truth. It is a habit of thought to be gently released in the light of contact. Let us be precise. We are not asserting that the human sense of you with its fears, its shortages, its labels is infinite. No, we are offering to test whether there is, at the core of you, an identity not born of flesh nor secured by circumstance that bears the nature of its source. If the fountain is pure, the stream is pure. If the root is life, the fruit is life. If the Father is infinite, the Son of that Father partakes in the infinity of that life as expression, as continuity, as sufficiency. Do you see? Not human grandeur, not spiritual vanity, but simple lineage. Call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven, your Father and my Father. Therefore, your inheritance and my inheritance are not competitive. They are the same indivisible wholeness realized according to the measure of our awareness. Our work, then, is to let this oneness be our working hypothesis and to verify it in the only laboratory that matters, consciousness, and then the life that issues forth from it. We will not try to believe beyond our light. We will sit with God is, and we will whisper, not to convince the sky, but to steady the heart. I and the Father are one. We will notice whether, as we abide in that truth, fear begins to lose its voice, whether a warmth, a subtle assurance appears where anxiety used to live. First inner evidence, then outward harmony. First identity realized, then supply as being, not stuff, makes itself known without strain. The hypothesis is not to be argued. It is to be lived, tested, proved in the quiet precincts of your own awareness. So, before we move to the specific drills, pause here with me. God is one life, the life of God, and that life, the life of me, your Father and my Father. All that the Father hath is mine, and because there is no private ownership in the infinite, all that I have is thine. Can you feel that this could be true, even faintly, if there is the least inward nod, the smallest loosening anywhere in you? That is enough for the experiment to begin. Hold to that light, however small. It is not fragile. It is faithful. On that premise, we will proceed, and we will let the results, assurance within, harmonies without speak for themselves. Now we begin the work in earnest. The first movement is not heroic. It is humble. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Can you give me 60 seconds at a time for this? Withdraw. For that brief interval, you practice verdicts, good and evil, worthy and unworthy, sound and unsound. No, we are not calling evil good. We are laying aside the human scale long enough to let spiritual vision announce itself. Withdraw your opinion. Look, realize God is, not as a thought to win an argument, but as the condition into which you are willing to be quiet. Here is the protocol. Take a person or a situation as it presents itself. Neighbor, news, body, bank account. Before you name it, close the inner book of labels. Put down sinner and saint, friend and foe, sick and well, mine and not mine. For 1 minute, let consciousness be unoccupied with classification. You are not pretending not to see. You are declining to conclude. In that decline, you set up a vacuum. Do you see? You open a space unfilled by your opinions, and into that space, as naturally as air rushing into an emptied room, comes the infinite wisdom, law, love, substance seeking to be known as your very awareness. Be still and know that I am God. The stillness creates the knowing. The knowing is not manufactured by mental effort. Now do it concretely. Bring to mind someone who has troubled you. Hold their face lightly in awareness without embroidery. Resist the reflex to correct, to excuse, to accuse. Simply behold, then softly, without force, let the mantra touch the scene. God is, 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 is. God is the life here. God is the law here. God is the only presence and power here. Do not add a plan. Do not design an outcome. Your work is simpler. Withhold judgment and rest the mind in the assurance God is. Stay. Breathe. Do you feel a shift? Perhaps not a revelation, but a softening, a warmth that has no object, no target. That is love in its native element. Not the love that chooses, not the love that bargains, but the fact of love as presence registering in you. Neither do I condemn thee. That sentence may not sound in words, but its tone arrives, and condemnation loses its glue. Extend the same seeing to conditions. The paper says shortage. The body says pain. The world says danger. For your experiment, do not fight. Do not affirm a counter picture. Do not dramatize. Simply refuse to grant power to the label. Judge not after appearances. Look at the word cancer, debt, estrangement, and for 60 seconds, make of your mind a sanctuary vacant of verdict. Into that vacuum pours a quiet certainty. God is, 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 is one presence, one law, one life. In that one, there are not two powers wrestling. There is not a God of sickness and a God of health. Fear begins to lose its voice because you have ceased feeding it your attention. This is righteous judgment, not a human decree, but the refusal to let appearances usurp the throne that belongs to reality. You may say, but what am I to do? In the first step, nothing but this. Withdraw your opinion, look, realize God is. That is all. Do it in the grocery line, at the bedside, in the staff meeting, while reading a bill. 30 seconds, 1 minute, several times a day. You are not building a case. You are opening a window. The sign that the window is open is not fireworks. It is the gentlest weather, an ease, a loosening, a warmth that has no person to cling to and yet blesses anyone it touches. When this warmth appears, even faintly, the vacuum has been honored and wisdom has entered. You may not yet know the outer step, but you will know you are not alone in determining it. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. The lamp does not light the whole road at once. It illumines the next step. Let this be that step. Create the vacuum and let the infinite fill it with its own seeing. God is. Now to the second movement, the one that gives the vacuum a center, the contact mantra. Simple, childlike, exact. God is. Not repetition for magic, no. Repetition for remembrance. The mind is a faithful servant at inventory. It is forever counting, projecting, fearing, rehearsing. We are not asking it to produce God. We are letting it be stilled long enough to feel beneath itself the flaw that was always there. Be still and know that I am God. The words are not the presence. The words are the hush that lets presence register. Do you feel that? Not whether your mind can applaud a technique, but whether something deeper sighs with relief that it need not solve the infinite. When you speak the mantra, you are not addressing a distant sky. You are consenting to what is already here as your life. One breath, one phrase, one consent, repeat. On the in-breath, a soft God is. On the out-breath, the listening is. Let the syllables grow light, even disappear, until only the awareness remains. Not God will, as if tomorrow held the mercy. Not God please, as if you possessed a better plan than omniscience. God is, present tense, presence felt. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The substance is not in your petition. It is in your now. If thought races good, let it run in the yard while you come inside. Whisper, God is, and listen for the still small voice. Do you see how your insistence drops? In the place of will, a willingness appears. In the place of strategy, a steadiness. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. This peace is not the payoff for 1,000 recitations. It is the byproduct of your consent. You are not building a tower of words to reach heaven. You are acknowledging that heaven, the infinite, invisible, omnipresent, is resting where you are. In him we live and move and have our being. So we breathe. We say little. We know much. Not with the head, but with the heart's witness. Use it as a micro practice. Before answering the phone, God is. When the email opens with heat, God is. At the bedside in the 2 a.m. hour, when dread performs its rehearsals. God is. Do not stretch to outcomes. Do not strain for change in the scene. The mantra stabilizes attention in presence, not future outcomes. One breath, one phrase, one consent, repeat. You will discover that a minute is enough to interrupt the tyranny of appearances. Sometimes 10 seconds is enough to let the lamp be lit. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. A footstep's worth of light is sufficient to keep you from stumbling. Take that step. Understand what we are doing. This is not auto-suggestion, not self-hypnosis wrapped in holy language. No. We are not manipulating appearances. We are consenting to reality. The phrase is not a lever to pry open the infinite. It is the bell that reminds you the door is already open. Before Abraham was, I am. The I that is God is not arriving. It is being. Our mantra corrects our grammar until our fear is starved of tense. Not I shall be helped, but God is. Not when this resolves. But this is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. The day is not calendar. It is awareness. I recall a clerk in a municipal office, weary and wary from months of complaint. She began to take one breath at the copier, God is, and one more at the counter before the next voice approached. She reported not that the citizens became saints overnight, but that in her there was a cushion of quiet where there had been a raw nerve. It is as if I am listening from farther back, she said. And then, almost as an afterthought, she noticed that the atmosphere thinned. 2 exchanges that would have exploded simply didn't find ignition. First assurance, then harmonies. The difference in demonstration is the difference in realization. Let the mantra be gentle. If your lips grow tight around it, stop and smile. This is letting, not getting. Open out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape. The splendor is not earned by syllables. It is released by surrender. Let the phrase rise and sink like a small wave. God is, 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 is. Allow the inner nod to appear in its own time. Do you sense the smallest yes? Claim nothing more. Stay there. Your Father and my Father knows the adding of things better than your plans can arrange. Our work is contact. Our work is consent. And as contact stabilizes outcomes without whipping, line up with the nature of what is realized. One breath, one phrase, one consent. Repeat. God is, 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 is. Let us now give this a frame you can live in for a few days, not as a vow, not as a performance, but as an experiment whose result you will read in your own heart. 3 days, 3 lenses, each day with a simple morning practice and a quiet evening check-in. We are not going to ask for anything. No, no. We are going to realize. We will measure not by argument, but by inner evidence, peace, warmth, a loosening. And then, if it happens, by the natural harmonies that follow, by their fruits ye shall know them, not by their noise. Day 1, the lens is people. Morning, give 5 minutes to the practice you already know. Withdraw your opinion. Look, realize God is. Take 3 faces into your silence, 1 easy, 1 neutral, 1 difficult. Do not label, judge not after appearances. Just behold with the mantra lightly touching your awareness. God is, is, is. Let the vacuum form. Let love disclose itself as presence without object. Then go about your day. And whenever a person presents himself or herself at breakfast, at the meeting, on the street, pause within for 10 seconds of contact. Not make them better, not fix this exchange, only God is. Evening, sit down with a page. Record, in plain words, any place where a felt warmth appeared, a softening, a quiet ease, especially where you withheld judgment. Do not embellish. Note even the smallest inch of grace. If there were outward harmonies, a conversation that did not ignite, a reconciliation that began, write them after the inner evidence, never before. The inner is the cause, the outer is the echo. Day 2, the lenses, conditions, sickness, lack, fear. Morning, 5 minutes again. Bring into awareness 1 condition that names itself loudly. Do not argue. Do not ask. Do not paint it rosy. Simply refuse to grant it power. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Behold it in the light of oneness. God is the only presence and power here. Is. Let fear have no throne. Through the day, when the report comes, a twinge in the body, a bill in the mail, a headline stop for 1 breath. God is. Withdraw your opinion. Look, realize. Evening. Write down the inner shifts. Was there a lessening of clutch? Did dread lose a little of its narrative? Only after that, if any outward adjustment took place, note it lightly, an answer that arrived without strain, a timing that protected you. Remember, we are letting, not getting. We do not push for signs. We read the peace. Day 3, the lens is identity and supply. All that the Father hath is mine. Morning, sit and consent to oneness as your identity. Not a better human, but the life of God expressing as you. I and the Father are one. Let the words pass into realization. God is. Supply is being, not stuff. Through the day, especially around money, time, or approval, pause and relocate yourself in that truth. Refuse the orphaned sense of life. Evening, ask only this. Did an inner assurance of sufficiency appear? Did you feel, however faintly, that you are not outside looking in? If there were outward harmonies, a need met, an idea given, a generosity flowing through you, note them as evidence of degree of realization, not trophies. A ground rule for all 3 days. No asking. Go to God, not for something, but to realize, God, if agitation rises at any point, if you feel yourself pressing, straining, bargaining, stop at once. Smile inwardly at your old habit. Return to the safety valve. God is. Sit in that until the breath comes back to the center. Then proceed. Keep a simple journal. 1 page per day. Morning intention in a sentence. Evening observation in a few lines. Do not grade yourself. Weigh nothing. We are not manufacturing results. We are consenting to reality and recording the smallest evidences that it has announced itself. A warmth, a loosening, a rightness without a reason. Do you see what I'm driving at? We are testing presence through daily drills that prioritize inner evidence. First assurance, then harmonies. The difference in demonstration is the difference in realization. If, over these 3 days, you come to the end and can say, even softly, there is more peace in me than there was, then the experiment has spoken. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, 1 step at a time, 1 day at a time, and the light will be enough. God is. Day 1 begins very simply, very quietly. Choose 1 person. Do not make it a crowd. 1 face will do, a beloved whose goodness you think you know, a stranger whose story you do not know, or a difficult one whose history with you seems written in stone. Any of these will serve. Sit where you can be unhurried. Close your eyes a moment and let the breath find its natural pace. We are not going to analyze. No. We are going to behold. Now bring that face into the light of your awareness and put down the scales, both pans, praise and blame alike. The Master said, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is, God. Do you see? Call no one good, neither condemn nor flatter. The labels by which you have known this person faithful, careless, saint, sinner, lay them all aside for 60 to 120 seconds. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is not a human verdict. It is the refusal to let the senses do your seeing. Withdraw your opinion. Look, realize God is. Let the mantra arrive without urgency. God is the life here. God is the only presence and power here. Do not add a plot. Do not fix. Do not even hope. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, allow a vacuum to form consciousness unoccupied by your estimates. Into that vacuum, as certainly as the tide fills the shore, comes the infinite, not as a spectacle, but as a quality, the soft weight of love without an object. Hold the face, hold the silence, hold the simple consent. God is. If thought tries to wander into grievances or adorations, smile and return to the center. One presence, one law, one life. Your Father and my Father. Now listen, from the heart's back room, do you notice, even slightly, a release, a small loosening in the jaw, a quieting in the chest, a gentler current in the mind? That is the first light. Do you feel less tension than before? Not whether you feel affection, not whether you like more or dislike less, but whether something unhooked from its argument. That warmth, that ease, is love beginning to reveal itself as presence. Neither do I condemn thee. It is not aimed at the person. It is the tone of reality announcing itself where you are. Let it be enough for this minute. Stay until the minute is full. If the face fades, let it. The presence remains. If the one you chose has been difficult, resist the old rehearsal, the case for and against. No. You are not here to improve a personality. You are here to bear witness to identity. I and the Father are one. Say it softly, not as claim for a separate self, but as recognition of life in the midst of you both. The same life, the same source, your Father and my Father. When resentment tries to speak, answer it only with the quiet grammar of reality. God is. That is all. You will find that the heat has fewer places to grip when the label is gone. When the minute completes, do not rush to interpret. Rise gently and carry this seeing into the first human contact of your day. As you approach, take 10 seconds of inward consent. God is, and behold without a tag. If words must be spoken, let them grow out of the warmth, not out of the habit. If silence is what comes, trust the silence. In him we live and move and have our being. If we live in him, then we meet in him. And in that meeting, love ceases to be a transaction and becomes an atmosphere. Remember, we are letting, not getting. Your journal will hold tonight whatever trace appears, but this morning requires nothing of you but beholding. If, as you go, a brief kindness arises or a tension simply fails to ignite, do not claim credit, recognize causation. First assurance, then harmonies. For now, ask only this and answer honestly. Do you feel less tension than before? If yes, however slight, then the presence has announced itself, and day one has begun in truth. God is. Now the evening draws its quiet circle around you. Sit a moment where you can be unhurried. Let the shoulders fall from their posts. Let the breath remember its rhythm. We are not going to grade the day. No. We are going to read it. Take your page, and before a single word, make contact. God is. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, let the day come forward without costume. Begin here, simply and honestly. Where did judgment return? Do not defend it. Do not scold it. Note the scene as you would a weather report. 9 o'clock in the car, I rehearsed the old case. Midday, I tagged a stranger with a story I do not know. Late afternoon, I tightened against the voice I have come to fear. Write it plainly, not as sin, but as information. Judge not after appearances, including the appearance of your own habit. Neither do I condemn thee. Let that tone clear the room. Now, second line, and this is the line we came for. Where did warmth appear? Do not look for trumpets. Look for the small weather shift, the softer tone in your reply that you did not manufacture, the easier breath during a conversation you usually armor against, the kind of word that arrived before you could arrange it, the impulse to listen instead of retort, the moment in the market when a face looked less like a problem and more like a presence, even the absence of what used to ignite. Write that down. A quarrel that never quite lifted off. A look you would have avoided that tonight felt ordinary. A heaviness that for 20 seconds did not sit on your chest. These are not accidents. They are evidences. The first proof is a felt warmth, small but genuine where judgment was withheld. Do you feel the rightness of that? If there was one encounter that glowed, record it carefully. What were the few seconds before it? Had you paused? Had the mantra been near? God is. Trace the simple causation without metaphysics. You made the vacuum. Love filled it as presence. Not love about someone. Love itself, arriving as your ease. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. That is the nature of this warmth peace. Without a bargain, tenderness without a target. Now reframe the outcomes. If today there was no dramatic reconciliation, no miracle headline good, we are not collecting trophies. We are consenting to reality. The inner softening is the proof in seed. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Do you see what I'm driving at? Spectacle follows essence as shadow follows form. The difference in demonstration will be the difference in realization. Let that free you from hurry. Tonight we honor the blade, a breath less strained, a sentence less sharp, an attention more spacious. Add one more note before you close. Whose peace did you share? Not who got better, but where did the sense of your father and my father appear between you? Perhaps it was a brief glance with a stranger, a shared smile at the elevator, an apology that slipped out of you without self-defense. All that I have is thine. Shared presence, shared peace. The kingdom does not divide its coin. It multiplies it by giving. When you withhold condemnation, you are not performing goodness. You are releasing what already is. Let your journal bear witness to that one sentence. Will do. Today I saw that the peace I felt was not mine alone. Now lay down the pen. Place your hand, if it helps, lightly over the heart, and let the day dissolve in the contact. God is, not tomorrow. Now, in Him we live and move and have our being. If we live in Him, then we rest in Him. And in that rest, even as you prepare for the night, there is an assurance that needs no proof from the senses. Whisper once more, without effort, God is. And let the silence finish the prayer. This is letting, not getting. The imprisoned splendor has found a fissure. That is enough for day one. Sleep in the warmth you noticed, however small. It is the infinite announcing itself where you are. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Day two begins with the things that speak loudly: sickness, lack, fear. Sit where you can be unhurried and faithful for a few minutes. Let one condition come forward. Only one. Name it inwardly without embroidery. The diagnosis. The bank figure. The story the mind is told at 3 a.m. Do not pet it with fear. By petting, I mean stroking it with anxious thought, rehearsing its teeth, feeding it with your calendar and your what-ifs. No. We are not going to enlarge the shadow. We are going to behold it in presence. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is not the denial of sensation. It is the denial of power to the label. Hold the condition lightly in awareness, as you would hold a small object in an open palm. Do not clutch and do not throw it away. Withdraw your opinion. Look, realize God is. Say it softly, not as magic, but as contact. God is the presence here. God is the law here. God is the very life in which this moment appears. We are not asking for change. No. We are realizing what already and always is. Be still and know that I am God. Be still first. Let the knowing come unforced. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Do you see? We are not drawing maps to escape the valley. We are discovering that it is a shadow, not a substance. When the presence walks as the I within you, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Comfort is the sign of presence, not the proof of an altered scene. Now breathe once with the mantra. On the in-breath, God is. On the out-breath, the listening is. Let the words grow lighter until only the awareness remains. Notice the tug to fix it, to flee it, to bargain with it. Smile when the tug comes and let it pass like a wave that cannot find shore. One presence, one power, one law. If I and the Father are one, then in this I there are not two powers contending. One. O-N-E. One. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. Love is not the sentiment you aim at the condition. Love is the nature of the presence you are consenting to. Its casting out is not a shove. It is a dawning. Stay long enough for a small weather change. Do not ask the body for a sign. Ask your awareness for its reading. Is there less urgency than a minute ago? Is there a fraction more room in the chest? Do you feel the jaw unhook? The breath come home by a step? That is what I mean by the defanging of fear. It has not been argued with. It has been unseated. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom is not a new arrangement of circumstances. It is the felt sufficiency of presence. Do you sense a measure of safety now that was not there at the beginning of this minute? Not safety from, but safety in. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. The table is presence made tangible as assurance. If images rush in procedures, balances, headlines, let them pass like birds across a wide sky. Your sky is not moved by their flight. Hold to the simple consent. God is. Not God will be when this resolves. Not God, please do something. Prayer is never going to God for something. Prayer is the quiet recognition of God as all the very substance, law, and life of this moment. When the mind says, yes, but, answer it with the grammar of reality. God is. Then return to silence. The silence will do the convincing, not your argument. Take this micro practice into the first report you meet today, a pain that announces itself, a bill that arrives, a news story that rattles. 10 seconds will do. Before you touch it, touch the center. God is. See the word not as a power, but as an appearance inside of presence. Judge not after appearances. Hold without fixing. Behold without fleeing. If an outer step is needed, it will come from quiet, not from panic. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. A lamp gives a footstep of light, not the whole map. Take the one lit step. Remember the order. First assurance, then harmonies. We are letting, not getting. Open out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape. As you rise, refuse the old ritual of checking the scene for proof. Check the heart for ease. If there is even a slight decrescendo of dread, let that be today's first fruit. The difference in demonstration is the difference in realization. This morning we are increasing realization by one quiet degree. God is. Walk on in that. And let fear lose its authority for lack of your consent. Evening now. Let us turn again to the quiet. Not to review a contest, but to consent to presence. Sit where you can be unhurried. Let there be one soft breath and the simple contact. God is. We are not here to push the day into shape. No. We are here to open out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape. Browning gave us that phrase, and it is exact. The splendor is not out there waiting to be shipped to you if you order correctly. It is within, infinite as your source, waiting for your consent to flow. How do we open out a way? We drop desire, we drop wish, we drop even hope. Hope has its place for the human heart at the beginning, but hope is still a projection into a tomorrow. Tonight we are letting tomorrow return to now. Be still and know that I am God. Not I will be, not I might be, am. Present tense. Presence. Look kindly upon every place today where you found yourself trying to get health, to get supply, to get rid of fear. Write them down briefly as sightings of an old religion that no longer serves you. Not as sins, not as failures, but as remnants of acquisition consciousness. Then, on the next lines, record each moment you let fear release you. Let the breath lengthen of its own accord. Let the phone call go unanswered until the inner contact was firm. Let a word arise instead of crafting an argument. Do you see what I'm driving at? The vessel is already full. We are no longer trying to add to it. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. All that the Father hath is already yours. Realization releases what already is. It does not acquire what is missing. Now look for the small harmonies. Did any ease appear in the body, not a spectacle, but a softening where pain had been tight? Did a timely call come? An email, settle a question without strain. A simple provision, arrive a parking space when urgency pressed. A neighbor's kindness just when you needed a hand. Note them without embroidery. And then place them in right order. First assurance, then harmonies. These are echoes, not proofs to be framed. Receive them as you would a cup of cool water on a warm day, gladly, gratefully, and without making a law of it. Do not say, when I say this mantra, my bills are paid, as if you had found a lever. No. Your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. Knowing precedes your sentence. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not demanded. Added, not bargained for. Let gratitude take its pure form tonight. Gratitude that presence is, not that you got. Thank you, Father, that life is what it is. Thank you that in the midst of the appearance, a table was prepared, assurance spread before me, even while the problem recited its case. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. My cup runneth over. My cup runs over because the fountain is within, not because the world poured more into me, but because the imprisoned splendor found its door ajar. Can you feel that difference? Not whether your mind agrees with the poetry, but whether your heart loosens around outcomes. If, as you write, you notice a place where you still hope, I hope tomorrow, the test says, I hope the account turns. Place a gentle line through the word and let it become is. God is. Is. We are not shaming hope. We are graduating it into realization. The difference in demonstration will be the difference in realization. Small harmonies are valuable not because of their size, but because of their source. Trace every quiet fruit back to the consent that preceded it. The vacuum you made by withholding judgment, the silence you kept before acting, the mantra that steadied the heart. These were not techniques to get, they were doorways to let. Close the page with one sentence of identity. I and the Father are one, your Father and my Father. Not a boast, a benediction. Rest the body, rest the mind, and let the night do its work. No petitions, no calendars, no bargains, only the simple contact as you slip toward sleep. God is. Is. The kingdom is present, the cup is full, the fountain flows of itself. Let it. Morning now, and we turn to identity not as a picture we admire, but as the fact we consent to. Sit quietly, unhurried. Let the body find a comfortable honesty. Before a single thought about the day forms, let one sentence rise without strain. I and the Father are one. Say it without reach, without heat, as you might state your name. I and the Father are one. One. O-N-E, one. Not two beings negotiating. Not a human trying to climb into divinity. Oneness, your life and the life. Your being and being. The same substance, the same law, the same presence. Do you feel the rightness of that even as an outline within you? Now extend the sentence the Master has given us. All that the Father hath is mine. Let it sit in the heart the way sunlight sits on water, quietly, universally, without favoritism. All that the Father hath is mine. And then complete the circle that love always makes. All that I have is thine. Do you see what I'm driving at? Identity is not a private vault. It is sufficiency revealing itself as sharing. Supply is not stuff. It is being expressing as enough. Enough wisdom, enough love, enough right activity, enough form where form is fitting. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Not because more coins fell into a purse, but because the infinite, invisible shepherd is the life of me, and that life knows no lack in itself. Let the mantra rest inside the breath. On the in-breath, a simple God is. On the out-breath, the listening. Is. No petition, no bargain, only consent. God is my life. God is my substance. God is my law. Let the words grow so light that they dissolve and leave the awareness. Sit in that awareness as you would sit by a fountain you did not build and do not have to power. The flow is not produced by your thinking. Your thinking can only cork or unstopper the opening. So we unstopper now by dropping the mental reach for more. More money, more safety, more approval. No, no. Return to sufficiency as identity. If I and the Father are one, the nature of my being is fullness. Do you feel even a fractional assurance of enough? Not a sentence of optimism, not an argument, but a quiet yes, without a reason. Let that fractional assurance ripen for a minute. Do not test the room for proofs. Test the heart for rest. If the mind rushes to inventory, balances, deadlines, appetites, smile gently and come back to the center. I and the Father are one. All that the Father hath is mine. God is. Feel how the words is mine change temperature when spoken from oneness. They are not possessive. They are descriptive. They say only that fullness cannot be outside the life that is my very being, and therefore cannot be outside the form my day requires to reveal harmony. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom is not things. It is rightness, presence, and things where needed arrive as its echo. Carry this seeing into the first measures of your day. When you touch your calendar and it feels too small for all that is asked, pause. I and the Father are one. All that the Father hath is mine, wisdom for the next step, grace for the tone of it, order for the sequence. When you glance at the wallet or the bill, refuse the orphaned feeling that life is outside you and you must go fetch it. Your Father and my Father. In him we live and move and have our being. Supply is the nature of that, being, flowing as idea, opportunity, restraint, generosity. He that believeth on me, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water, from within out, not from without in. If the impulse to hold tight arises, let the second half of the sentence speak through you. All that I have is thine. Not recklessness, but recognition that love multiplies by giving and never diminishes its source. Set a simple intent for this day, to read sufficiency from within before you count anything without. When a request comes, answer first from the contact, not from the fear of depletion. When a possibility appears, touch the center before you grasp. If action is to be taken, it will come as the natural use of what already is yours in God as skill, as clarity, as a fitting channel. Remember the order that has guided us. First assurance, then harmonies. We are not trying to get, we are letting. Open out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape by consenting to what you already are. Before you rise, ask the only diagnostic that matters this morning. Is there even a fractional assurance of enough? If there is, be content with that seed. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Keep the blade safe by returning often to the contact. One breath, one mantra, one remembrance. I and the Father are one. All that the Father hath is mine. And as you move among others, let love complete the circle through you. All that I have is thine. God is. Evening again, and we come not to conclude a course, but to read it rightly. Sit where you can be unhurried. Let one soft breath come, and with it our contact. God is. We are not here to grade ourselves or to demand a sign. No. We are here to discern the degree of realization that has been born and to recognize its natural echoes. Be still and know that I am God. In the stillness, ask this simple, faithful question. Where today was oneness vivid, and where was it faint? Let the day step forward without costume. Note the moments when the sentence, I and the Father are one, moved from words to weight, when it had substance inside you at the desk, on the call, in the store. Did you feel a center under your feet that was not circumstances? Write that down, or if you are not writing, say inwardly, here the presence was vivid, and where did it go thin? Where did you pick up labels again? About yourself or another? About your body or your balance? Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is not praise or blame. It is the refusal to let the senses run your seeing. Mark, honestly, the places you forgot and the places you remembered. Do you see what I'm driving at? This is the map of realization taking form in you. Now consider the correspondences. Were there harmonies? A knot in the chest that loosened at the sound of the mantra. A word that arrived before you could think it, fitting and kind. An arrangement that met you halfway, an answer, a provision, a timing. Note them carefully as you would note the weather. They came, but do not clutch them. No, no. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not seized. We do not make a law out of today's kindness. We make a law out of presence. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let the peace be the proof and the events be its echo. Hold fast to the principle that governs the whole of our work. The difference in demonstration is the difference in realization. The Master healed with an ease his disciples did not yet know. Not because his Father was different, but because his realization was deep. Your Father and my Father. The same life, the same source, the same infinity. The difference will not be in God. It will be in the depth to which we consent, the degree to which we withhold judgment and let the vacuum form. The measure of our resting in God is not God will be, not God please, but God is. Can you feel that even a fractional increase in assurance today yielded a proportional ease? That is law, not luck. Recommit, then in the quiet. We keep the method simple, exact, faithful, withhold judgment of persons, of conditions, of this very practice. Create the vacuum. Realize, without strain, God is. Return to silence and rest in it. If there is a step to be taken, let it arise as the one lit by, thy word is a lamp unto my feet. A lamp gives one step, not the whole map. Trust the order. First assurance, then harmonies. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Honor the blade. You have seen these 3 days, warmth where there was heat, space where there was pressure, enough where there was dread. Now let me ask you what only you can answer. Do you feel you have touched something real? Not whether you have arranged a spectacle, but whether a quiet certainty now abides just beneath your breath. If even a mustard seed of that is present, be content. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom has come near in you as assurance. Let that be tonight's benediction. Whisper once more, simply, truthfully, God is. I and the Father are one, your Father and my Father. All that the Father hath is mine. All that I have is thine. Rest in that and let tomorrow's harmonies arrive as its natural overflow. Now I can hear the honest voice within you, and may I say, it is a good companion saying, but isn't this merely auto-suggestion? Isn't this positive thinking dressed in scripture? No, no, not out-suggestion, not mental override. Prayer is never the mind arranging a better picture for itself. Prayer is realization. It is spiritual seeing. It is the awareness of what is already true before a word is spoken. Your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things before you mouth a syllable, before you frame a request. Do you feel the difference? Auto-suggestion tries to paste a bright label over fear. Realization lets fear lose authority because presence is felt as the only law in the room. Auto-suggestion works by adding thought upon thought statements stacked like sandbags against a flood. We are not piling thoughts. We are removing them. We are withholding judgment, giving up our labeling of persons and conditions as good or evil, strong or weak, saved or lost. We create a vacuum, and into that vacuum rushes spiritual knowing. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is not a new human verdict. It is sight from the center where God is not God will be when I succeed at my technique. Not if I say the mantra often enough, I will get my way. No, we are not getting, we are letting. We are not manipulating appearances. We are consenting to reality. How then do you test this? Not by spectacle, but by essence. The test is simple, exact, faithful. Does the practice yield quiet? Do you find a warmth small but unmistakable where a moment ago there was heat? Do you notice harmonies, arriving uncoerced right words at the right time? A door that opens without your pounding. A necessary no that comes without guilt. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. If what you are doing produces strain, adrenaline, bravado, you have wandered back into mental manipulation. If what you are doing produces gentleness, a soft readiness to give and to act, you have touched spirit. Do you see what I'm driving at? If agitation rises, and it will sometimes, do not double down. Stop. Drop all techniques, all sentences, even the wish to feel better. Be still and know that I am God. Let the contact be as bare as a breath. God is. Nothing added, nothing pushed. Do not check the body for a sign. Check the heart for unclenching. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? You cannot add by effort what being already is, as you. Wait for the small dawn. A loosening at the center. The sense that you are not two fear here, God there, but one. Presence revealing itself as calm. When that returns, move gently again. Keep the humility clause ever before you. We do not command outcomes. We consent to presence. Even the Master said, I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. And when he taught us to pray, he gave us, thy will be done. Not as resignation, but as reality consenting to be itself through us. You will find that where humility is, harmony arrives naturally, and where willfulness hides, hurry follows. The difference in demonstration is the difference in realization. If a matter has not yet yielded, do not punish yourself, do not blame God, do not abandon the way, deepen the contact, make the vacuum, withhold judgment again. Let the heart return to God is, and stay until assurance, not argument, stands up inside you. Understand this clearly. We do not deny appearances as if facts were enemies. We deny them power. We look at the label and refuse its ultimacy. Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. Manifestation is not conjuring. It is showing forth what is. When love is felt as the only nature here, fear cannot hold office. When oneness is realized, your Father and my Father, the practice stops being a tool to get and becomes a life to let. Then the signs that follow are in right order. First the silence, then the warmth, then the unforced harmonies that point back not to your cleverness, but to the one. Whisper it once more, simply, without pressure. God is, and let reality be itself where you are. Now we let the circle widen. Private peace is never for private storage. The nature of spirit is overflow. When realization takes root, it asks, may I pass through you as mercy? Do you feel that? Not a project, not a program, but an overflow from the center. We have found God is. The field extends of itself. We do not strain to bless. We cease to withhold, and blessing appears as the natural climate around us. Out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Rivers do not argue their way downhill. They yield to gravity. Our gravity is oneness. Begin to behold strangers, adversaries, and headlines in the very way you have beheld your own thought and body, without labels, without condemnation, without the false dignity of rightness. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. You will pass someone on the street whose look you do not understand. Withdraw your opinion. Look, realize God is not God is with the good and absent from the difficult. God is the life here. When an adversary enters your meeting, do not arm yourself with cleverness. Lay down your stones. Hear the Master. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. That is not leniency for wrongdoing. It is sight from oneness that releases the person from the label by which you would have imprisoned them. And when you meet a soul at the edge, the one the world has placed outside the gate, remember the thief at the cross. No delay, no probation. Today shalt thou be with me in paradise. Today meaning presence, now. Do you see what I'm driving at? Mercy is not a reward. It is reality revealed when judgment is withdrawn. This is how roles appear without costume. Healer, reformer, supplier. These are not titles to be claimed. They are functions that surface when you look out from oneness. The healer is simply the one who refuses to recognize two powers, disease here and God there, and so the fear loses office and the body or the atmosphere yields. The reformer is the one who beholds the community without the old labels of good and evil entrenched, and into that vacuum rushes wisdom that changes a policy or softens a tone. The supplier is the one who stands in, all that the Father hath is mine, all that I have is thine. And so channels enough ideas, introductions, bread without clutching, not by fixing materially, but by seeing spiritually, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Let us set some micro assignments as doorways. Tomorrow's meeting, before you craft an argument, be still. Make the vacuum. Whisper, God is. Hold every face there in that light, especially the one you have dreaded. Wait for the small warmth, the unclenching, and then speak only from that. A bill on the table. Do not stare it into a giant. Place it in an open palm of awareness. God is the law here, the substance here, the wisdom for the next step. Take the one lamp-lit step, not the panic sprint. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. A family tension. Refuse to relive the archive of injury. See the person as the adulterous woman was seen released from your indictment before a sentence is spoken. If a boundary is needed, it will arise cleanly, without venom. A headline that throws your chest. Close your eyes a moment and let the world return to the one. Be still and know that I am God. From that stillness, give what is yours to give. A letter, a vote, a loaf, a listening without the theater of outrage. Watch how the field answers. As your judgment drops, warmth spreads. This is not poetry, it is weather. A tense room exhales. A sharp email returns softened. A neighbor you have passed for years meets your eye and nods, and inside the nod you feel, unmistakably, a shared center. Small reconciliations appear like quiet blossoms along a path. Do not hurry to frame them. Let them be. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Children, your Father and my Father. This is communal proof, modest, continuous, real. First assurance, then harmonies. First the blade, then the ear. Keep the humility clause near. We do not go out to improve a world as if we stood above it. We consecrate the world by beholding it in God. If agitation rises in any of these assignments, stop, drop the techniques. Return to the bare contact. God is. When assurance returns, move just that far, no more. You will find that your life becomes quietly porous. People will bring you their questions without knowing why. Rooms will borrow your calm. Needs will find their way to your door and discover they are already provided for before they can say what they are. This is not you becoming important. This is the imprisoned splendor finding openings. Let this be our simple intention as we move among others. To read every face, every problem, every report from the center out, never from the circumference in. I and the Father are one, your Father and my Father. All that the Father hath is mine. All that I have is thine. Consent to that, and let mercy take on form where you stand. God is, and the world, beginning at arm's length, finds itself warmed. We have come quietly to the seal, not of a theory, but of an experience. You did not accept my words because they were mine. You made room. You withheld judgment. You consented to presence. And a small warmth answered. First assurance, then harmonies. That is the arc. From a skeptic's good honesty to a personal proof that needed no debate, only practice. Taste and see that the Lord is good. You tasted, not with tongue but with awareness, and something good touched you. Do you feel that? Even a small rightness standing there without your supporting it? Be content with that. It is the blade. The ear will follow. Now keep the rhythm simple, faithful, lived. Morning, 1 minute of withholding. Before the day assembles its labels, sit and withdraw your opinions from the people you will meet, the conditions you will face, the self you think you must carry. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Make the vacuum no praise, no blame, no verdicts, and let the single contact rise of itself. God is. I and the Father are one, your Father and my Father. Say it without strain, then rest, as if sunlight were already warming the field that will be walked. Move into the day only from that warmth. Midday. Return in brief. 30 seconds between tasks. One breath before the door. Pray without ceasing does not mean words without ceasing. It means contact renewed as you go. Whisper within, not to get, but to let. God is. Feel for the unclenching, the rightness that needs no defense. If it does not come at once, do not tug on the root. No. Set down the rope and wait a moment longer. Often the simple remembrance, your Father and my Father, will restore you to the center out of which right words and right actions flow. Evening. Be still and read the day rightly. Without indictment or pride, ask, where was oneness vivid? Where was it thin? Note the warmth that came when you withheld judgment. Note the small harmonies that arrived as echo. A tone softened, a step shown, a provision appearing as if from around a corner. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. And that is all you needed, a lamp for the next step. Give thanks, not that you got, but that God is. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Let the night keep the blade, and let the imprisoned splendor find larger openings while you rest. Keep the identity refrain near, continual as breath. I and the Father are one, your Father and my Father. All that the Father hath is mine. All that I have is thine. Not a possession to God, a fullness to share. The difference in demonstration will ever be the difference in realization. Deepen realization by consenting to what already is. Let demonstration appear as its natural weather. Do not argue your peace. Wear it lightly. Do not market your proofs. Let them serve. My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If anyone inquires why the air around you has gentled, answer only as grace gives utterance, and often you will answer by listening. Now, in this last quiet together, I ask you what only truth within you can answer. Do you feel a rightness that requires no defense? Not a conclusion of thought, a conclusion of being. If it is even a mustard seed, it is enough, guarded by simplicity. Morning withholding, midday contact, evening beholding, presence lived, not argued. When agitation rises, return to the humility clause. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within doeth the works. Withdraw your verdicts, create the vacuum, and let reality show itself. So we close as we began, with a simplest sentence that is more than a sentence. God is. Thou art, because I and the Father are one. We are your Father and my Father, one life, one love, one infinite, invisible, being taking gentle form as mercy where you stand. Be still, and let the spiritual appearance be made visible. God is.